Good Wednesday morning. It is time to check in on our weird animals today.
Have you learned a lot about weird animals today? Or this week?
This week, yep. Today's focus, or our learning target today, is being able to, assuming that's still okay, being able to use a strategy to help you determine what an unknown word means. If you come to a word you don't know.
And we always talk about vocabulary. Vocabulary are just the words that we use. We have a spoken vocabulary, words we use when we talk. We have a written vocabulary, words we use when we write. And we have words that, like, we know what they are when we read them, but we might not speak them or whatever. And, our vocabularies are constantly changing. Rachel and Matthew, we were going to the store this week. Matthew got some miniatures and he wanted some paint to finish it with, some clear spray. And he said, is it glossy or is it matte? Which is correct, M-A-T-T-E. Rachel said, I think that's matte. And I was like, no, it's matte. He is correct. But she knew what it meant, right. But she had only seen it written. She had not heard that. It wasn't in her, spoken vocabulary.
Well, and vocabularies can change based upon the context.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about
social distancing,
quarantine, words that we're using regularly now that we would not have used a year that we would have not used a year ago. We wouldn't have used these words. So
our vocabulary with technology words, I didn't know what Zoom was.
Jam boards. I mean, anybody know what a jam board was before this week?
So our vocabulary is constantly changing, but when we come across those words that we don't know, we have to be able to do something to try to figure them out.
So today we're just going to look at some words that we thought may be unfamiliar to you. And then your job today is going to be to do two different things. One thing is going to be just to identify some words in the text. I see another word. I think we can talk about this, Taylor.
Good.
Identify some words in the text that you either didn't know at all or you weren't quite sure what the word meant.
Like you could pronounce it. Lots of times we can read a word, but we really don't know what it means. Or I might not even be able to decode the word, and perhaps sometimes because I can't decode it, I don't know what it means.
Right.
But you're going to just become aware of, oh, that's a word I don't know, and then we're going to try to figure out some strategies to do when we come across those words. So you want to model highlighting first?
Sure. I'm going to come over here to this pen tool, and if you see the little arrow, if I click on the arrow, then you get a variety of options of different types of pens. But this one here is the highlighter.
And when you hover over it, it kind of says what it does.
Highlighter, that one's a brush, marker, pen. So I'm going to highlight, and I'm going to do the yellow, kind of a highlighter with yellow. Because Tyler, I saw this word down here. This deters. It's not very transparent.
Let's see. Did we try the paintbrush instead, Miss Molly?
Yeah, let's. So we're just kind of learning here, guys.
Seems like there was something we tried the other day that was better.
Maybe paintbrush is a little better, and using the yellow. All right. So deters. The smell deters most predators. When I get to a word I don't know, first step, I got to be able to try to sound it out. And even when I'm reading a book that's from a different culture and Scotland. And so there are a lot of unfamiliar words, but I've been able to use context clues to figure out what those words mean.
Even if you're not pronouncing them right.
No.
Rachel knew what Matt meant, even though
she wasn't pronouncing right.
Mate. Goodness. But
so I can try to pronounce it, and I think that we would pronounce it.
I think I would divide it into syllables there.
Deters.
Deter. But I don't know what it means.
The smell deters most predators.
And okay, let's think. I know what a predator is. A predator is if I am the animal and Miss Milam, I'm going to eat her. I'm the predator, and she's the prey. Oh.
And it also says that they're using saliva and they cover their young. So she's doing this, I can just infer, to protect her young. And so by covering her young with this saliva that makes us smell, her objective would be to keep the predators from eating her young.
So the smell keeps away
most predators.
Now, I'm going to put that's what I think it means. Let's put it in a sentence. The smell keeps away most predators.
Yeah. Kind of. Right? Why is it? Oh, I was trying to move my text box away from the
Page. It doesn't let you hang
No.
over.
Smell keeps away most predators, and that basically makes sense. So I
You can draw a
highlighted.
line there to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my phone. Well, I was on the hot.
It's all right.
Excuse me, guys.
Yeah. So we can draw
Oh,
this
it's your
one.
phone, Miss Mama.
It's my phone.
It is.
Wow. All right. Sorry, guys. We're back. We had a phone call and
Had to stop.
I had to stop for a few minutes. But all right. So we talked about deters. There are some other words on here we could talk about, but we're going to go to another page.
When I look up there at that heading of freaky creatures, underneath that heading, I see some wild animals just look. What is that word?
I'm going to highlight it because that's unfamiliar. Well, let's see if we can decode it, if we can chunk it first. I might make it consonant, vowel, consonant, and go biz.
Biz.
And
And the A is R controlled. R.
Like a
Bizarre.
parrot.
Yeah, bizarre.
Bizarre.
Some animals
just look
bizarre.
Well, the whole text is about how animals are weird.
And look, in the next sentence, this selection
Have to be
some of the weirdest looking creatures on Earth. So in that next sentence, it's giving us that clue, weirdest looking. So some animals just look weird or strange.
I'm going to think bizarre sort of means weird. Or you said strange. But that weirdest there was a clue to help me figure out that bizarre means weird, strange, odd, different.
When we use those clues in the text, we call them context clues to help us figure out the meaning of those words.
Sometimes you might come across a word here that is bold. So if I came to this word here, the platypus looks so weird, people used to think it was a hoax. And I decoded that one. That OA, that vowel team OA makes that long O sound, hoax.
Miss Helen, I noticed that word is in bold print.
So you know what, guys? If it's in bold.
One strategy, first of all, we can read around it. It looks so weird, people used to think it was a hoax.
It's one of the few mammals that lay eggs.
Not a lot of clues.
They don't give us many clues about what a hoax was, because is a hoax something like another animal or a creature or but you know what? It's bold. That author knows that's probably a hard word. So it's going to be in the glossary. If it's bold, they put it in the glossary. So I'm going to go here to the back of the book. I'm going to find hoax.
And look, there's how to pronounce it right beside it there. Hoax.
Something false that people pretend is true. So there was the definition, what hoax means.
So it's kind of like a fake.
Fake. Think it's fake. Pretend it's true, but it's actually false.
Kind of trick. There we
go. Yeah. So hoax, we could say fake. Not true.
They thought it was like a made-up animal, or somebody was just drawing a picture of this strange animal.
Okay. So your job today is to go through, find
3 to 5?
3 to 5 words that are unfamiliar to you. And listen, I don't want anybody to say, oh, I know all the words. None of them are unfamiliar. You could decode all the words, but if you'd have to know these well enough to use them again in your own language, to be able to write sentences with them.
And even when I read them, there are some that I can't, that I'm more comfortable with, but there's some that I know what it says, but I'm not exactly sure what it means, or I'm not real clear. Everybody can find 3 words that they don't know. You're going to highlight or paintbrush them.
Yeah, paintbrush the word. And then you can, if there was like this one, there was a context clue. I could have drawn a line to the context clue. I could think about what it could mean, look it up in the glossary and put the meaning.
I could even Google it. But now be careful when you Google, because sometimes they give you definitions that you don't even understand. If you're going to Google like definition for kids. You know, if we Googled hoax.
So let's just do that. We'll go over here to Google, and I'm going to put
hoax. We're going to spell it right. HOAX.
I'm going to put definition
for kids. That one says children's there beside it.
Well, there's the pronunciation.
Hoax.
Okay. Tells me it's a noun, an act of deception.
Go to definition 2. Something false
or inauthentic.
Not
so that's
real.
Yeah. So that it may even look. Synonyms sometimes help me. Fake, phony, rip-off. So anyway, you could use a variety of tools, be it a dictionary, Google, the glossary.
And I would honestly encourage you to use more than one. If there's a context clue there, that's the one I use first, because the book is right there.
Right.
If I can read around it, if it's in bold and there's a word meaning,
then I'm going to go to
that's my next choice. And then Googling it would be my third choice.
So after you have found 3 to 5 words you didn't know, and make your best shot at what you think it means,
you're going to go to slide 18.
Slide 18 here. It's Wednesday. Using context clues in the glossary. Here was an example of a word that was in the text, sand swim. And I don't know that this is like a real word, but still it was in there. And when you hear it, sand swim, what's that mean? If I look in the text here, here's like a snipped picture of part of the text. They also sand swim, or paddle.
So when you
through
see that
the sand,
that's telling you it's like a definition,
So it means paddling through the sand.
So you have some other words there.
And then there are some clues. And look, this word here, hint,
is in bold. So I can
go back to the glossary
and look up what a rodent is. The other words we chose were not in bold, so you'll have to read around. But you'll see that we've snipped a pretty good little section of text there so that you have a clue.
Context clues aren't always the words right before the unknown word or right after the unknown word. Sometimes you have to read the sentence before too, or a sentence or two after the word. Just have to read around it and see if it makes sense. All right. Get to work and let us know if you need any help.